No.
Okay, try it again.
Hold on, wait, everyone, focus.
No, I don't want to do that.
That's teasing because that's what we just did.
Y'all messed up her intro.
It's okay. I'll do it again.
All right.
Don't do it again. Everybody, Stepford Wives smile.
Hi guys. Welcome to Teachers Off Duty. What is that, like the third time we've tried the
Yeah,
intro?
we got it.
It's okay. We're
I
fine.
can't
We're just
count.
gonna go with it. So we wanted to talk to you guys today about teaching
Are you
during
gonna
a
let me
pandemic.
introduce myself?
Oh, hi, I'm Rebecca Rogers, our Rogers
I'm
World.
sleepy.
Love ya.
I'm Tell Williams or Mr. Williams Pre-K on social medias.
I like the way you say your name.
Thank you so much.
I'm Bree, Honest Teacher Vibes.
And I am Lauren Woolley, Mrs. Woolley in 5th on social media.
We really want to talk to you guys about teaching during a pandemic because there's so many professors, administrators, professional development coordinators that want to tell you how to do it, but don't actually know how to do it. Never experienced it, never. And so we want to talk about the realities of teaching during a pandemic and like actual self-care, not like the toxic positivity.
Right.
Positivity. I like the way you say it.
Positivity.
The toxic positivity. Let's call it that from now on.
When it came to like actually taking care of myself during the pandemic, let me tell you, I did not know what that meant at first.
Yeah.
Right.
Because like first semester, fall 2020, I did like 18-hour days teaching.
Oh, not
18.
me.
Yes, because I made those like animated content videos for my kids.
Oh.
Because they told me, they were like, Rebecca, you have to find something
It's like
that
a-
Girl,
is
you
teacher.
extra.
Right.
I
Oh,
would
well,
never do
because
that.
they were like, you have to find something where it doesn't matter if a kid's internet went out or if they weren't able to attend class because they had shared devices or
I'd have
something.
been like, you find
something
that out.
that is accessible. And I was like,
Yeah.
I
It's a you
got
problem.
this.
Since
you
when
know?
am I the IT department?
Right.
Well,
I didn't go to school for that.
It sounded like a good idea at the time. I was like, this will be so great. And then I actually started doing it and I was like,
That's a long time.
This is the-
I'd have
it was-
been
it was
dead in the
Wait,
water.
it was like what?
I don't want to make the sound again.
I
It
enjoyed
was-
that sound effect.
It was the worst thing in the world. Like, and now it's great because I have the content and like a lot of kids said it was really helpful. But let me tell you, I went days without sleeping. I was not taking
How
care
did
of
you
myself.
do that?
I don't know.
Girl.
I really.
How long did you go? Did you all go virtual?
We were
Yeah.
complete. I was virtual all year, even second semester when school like came back into session because of the videos that I made. They wanted me completely virtual. Because the kids
I
said that it
hated
really
virtual.
helped and it worked. So I didn't. I
so-
was isolated all year.
For how? Like when did you? When were you in class in person?
I wasn't in person at all last year, like not once.
When did you go back?
The
Wow.
next year? So last year?
20.
I
The
can't
fall
keep
of
up with the years.
2020.
Whatever the year was that it started. Oh, yeah. So fall of 2020. So our kids were virtual and online. So we
Okay.
had half in class, half online.
Oh my
and
god.
so we had to teach like
That sounds like
online
such
and
a
virtual.
mess.
Yeah.
It was
No, we were virtual from March of 2020
Yeah.
until the end of the year, and then we started out the 2020-2021 school year hybrid, and then a lot of kids came back in person, but then you would have like 3 virtual kids, so you still had to do all of
Yeah,
your hybrid
the worst.
stuff for 3 children, which I get it,
right.
but it was like it was that you were working like double
Right.
your job
Miserable.
time, like you're not getting paid anything extra.
No.
It's
No
not like we were
extra.
getting any kind of like
They were like,
hazard pay.
They
or,
were like, you know what we're going to
you
pay
know?
you? We're going to pay you no attention.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what's really weird is when it came to teachers that were virtual, that were hybrid teaching, the parents were so upset that teachers were splitting their time between the in-person kids and the virtual kids. Admin literally told our teachers, if you have a couple kids that are online, just ask another student to help them. Give the laptop to another student and have them answer questions. And
They
have them
can't
explain
walk and chew gum
directions.
at the same
Like,
time. How am I
what?
supposed to help another student?
Like,
So
how?
wait, you're telling okay? I went to school for
Mhm.
6 years for a master's degree and a bachelor's
Just give it
degree,
to another student.
and you're gonna tell me to give the
10-year-old.
laptop to the 10-year-old?
The pandemic
Yeah.
well,
is.
so ours was high school. Ours was high school.
Everyone is so short-staffed. There are
Yeah.
several school districts that are asking parents to come in and sub, and you know,
Like I said
that if
earlier,
we get
do you have a
parent-
pulse?
No,
You're
If
in.
You're in. If we have a parent, I can guarantee you, we have a parent going and sub for one day. We're gonna have a lot of different policy changes. It's gonna be
You
real
sure
good
know
for
what to say.
teachers because also they're like, this is hard. Like,
But did you see there was some senator a little while ago that that tweeted something along the lines of, "Oh, just have whoever go into the schools because it's honestly just childcare anyways. It's
I
just
be wanting to smack
daycare."
them people up.
I would pay money to watch them just
Do-
go into
right.
the schools.
I would pay money to watch them go do a daycare because they would.
They could
that would be-
never.
They don't
They could
understand.
never.
Something
Some of
that's
these
wi-
kids can't even stand, or people can't even stand having their own kids at home for a long period of
Oh,
time.
Cause that's what y'all was
Right.
really mad about. Y'all
You're-
were mad at
you're
that.
gonna- yeah.
That's what y'all really was mad about. Cause them kids was eating y'all at a house and home. Why you in my refrigerator again? You do that at school? Well, use your school stomach. Don't use your
School
use your school stomach.
Stop. School stomach.
school
That is
stomach.
funny.
Use your school stomach.
Hey, I mean, we're teachers. We have school bladders.
We definitely
Oh my
school
God, we
bladders,
do.
We
and
have
I
school
also have a school
stomachs.
liver now. So wild thing is we were year round schooling.
Mm-hmm.
I went back in May
Year-round.
of 2020.
What?
I went back 5 or 6 weeks after it closed. Do you know how terrifying that was to go
Oh
in
my
and know nothing about the
gosh.
pandemic? So and of course they're like self care and you can't practice that. Teaching during the pandemic. When I was 10, maybe I might have been younger. I watched an episode of ER. Do you remember ER?
Yes.
And it was a smallpox episode. And from that day forward, I was like, a pandemic will happen, and I will get smallpox.
Oh my God.
So from
Tell.
10 years old on, I was terrified.
Traumatized.
Terrified of pandemic.
Traumatized.
What happened? A pandemic. I was
Oh, no.
crumbled in anxiety, and I started to do stuff. We had to do videos for the kids, and we split them up so it was on like YouTube, so they wanted to sit all at one time and watch it. So it would take like 3 hours to read a book and animate myself and put sound with it and change, whatever, like
Right.
costumes and stuff. And so I was doing that, and I was just like, I was terrified to leave those. My husband would have to pull me out of the house to just go on walks. And I was like, you know what? And then I got comfortable with walking, and then I got comfortable with, we lived right across from a gas station or a grocery store. So he'd go to bed, and I wouldn't go to, I'd go to bed at 2 a.m. and I'd walk to the grocery store, and every night I would get a tub of ice cream and eat it
Oh my
because that was my form of self-care. That's
Every
called-
night?
Every
Don't you judge him.
night.
I'm not judging. I'm
Judging.
jealous.
I
I love
a quart of ice cream every night, and I thought, I'm keeping this a good secret. I'm keeping this a good
I would
secret.
have barfed.
I did not
Listen,
keep it a good secret.
Please
because
don't think I'm judging. I would be jealous to live across from a grocery store that I could just walk across the street at 2 a.m. and
walk
get some
across.
ice cream.
No, I
Facts.
didn't. He'd go to sleep at like 10, and like it closed at 11, so I had to time it out. So like I would go, I would.
He was
eat
methodical
it,
about
I'd eat
it.
and then he'd be like, did you get ice cream? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just like, I'm gonna get a little bit of it. I gained 30 pounds in 6 weeks.
Oh,
And
I mean,
I was like,
why am I
and-
looking like that? I
and
did
would,
too.
but I told myself as I sat on the couch,
I was
I
like,
told myself, I was like,
wait, me
we're
too.
living through a pandemic. Treat yourself. And I was like, this is what self-care looks like.
Dude, you never had that freshman 15, but you had that COVID 30.
I got
Oh,
I had the
everybody
COVID
gained
30.
30 pounds
And the
during
thing was,
COVID.
my husband never said anything. He was so sweet about it. Like, was never like this. And I was like, and I was like, because I in May went to go put on my clothes to go back to work that weren't elastic, and I was like, these don't fit. And Jason's like, yeah. And I was like, did I gain weight? And he's like, I love you. And I was like, I didn't ask you if you
That's the
loved
right
me.
question.
So
That's the
I
right
gained
answer.
weight. How could I gain weight eating a quart of ice cream every night?
Listen, everybody did though.
Everybody
That
Like-
was
gained
my
weight
form.
during
That was my
COVID.
form of
Every
toxic
single
self-care.
person. I don't want
Everybody.
to hear one person say they didn't gain at least like 10 pounds over
Man,
COVID.
minimum.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think
Over
that
quarantine.
you adapted a bad, or maybe still have a bad, self-care skill that you've developed because of teaching during a
Yes.
pandemic?
See, okay, because
Gotta think about
first
that one.
I know,
semester
I
I
think
was
about it.
just doing because first semester I was doing 18-hour days, and that literally
That's
like
so
I was
long.
so
It'd
unhealthy.
break me.
I
Yeah,
was,
that was-
broken. So second semester I was like, I'm not taking anything home after school.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing just contract hours. Like
Right.
that was my limit of no more. This is for myself. I'm going home. Day ends at 2:30. I'm going home at
Right.
2:30. And while you think about it, I have a story about my worst day teaching during that second semester of the pandemic. It was the day after I got my second shot.
Oh, no.
And
Make you
it
so
kicked
sick.
my butt,
Yeah.
let me tell you. Like, I felt like I had 10-pound weights on each of my pelvic bones and all of my shoulder blades, and the only way to relieve it was to lay flat.
Oh, gosh.
Like, I was
Wait,
miserable.
lay flat like on your back?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just picture like Becca planking
Laying
on the
on
floor.
the side.
Yeah, guys, finally cool enough for the kids.
Superman.
But so it was the day after the shot, and I didn't realize that's what was making me feel so sick.
Yeah.
Like I just thought it was a
Dang.
bad day. So I went in. My our secretary, bless her heart, she told me that I had to cover a class. And I was like, this is the 5th time in the last 2 weeks. And they literally told me that they had a list of people and they were going to have everyone do all of their days at once. So because I was at the front of the list, I was doing all of my cover duties at once. And I'm like, first of all, that is terrible planning on your part.
Horrible.
But
I
also,
didn't think that was a good
I
idea.
got more days than others because they told me I was virtual. So I have more free time. And I was
That's not how it works.
That's not how it
mad.
works at all.
so angry. I just started crying.
Their logic sometimes.
It was
I'm like, what kind of
ridiculous.
clowns are coming up with these policies?
Yeah.
I
People
was
who did
so
not
mad.
teach during a pandemic.
And then also, I had a parent who, so
I
halfway
remember
through the
this.
semester, our county decided they were going to allow parents to switch their kids from either virtual or in person. Halfway through the semester, that meant all of their teachers were going to change. So we were told, hey, just letting you know, you might get kids on your roster for a second, but then they go away. We're just trying to figure out where
Right,
they go.
right.
And so I had one kid that showed up on my roster, but he never came to class. I asked the counselors. They said, just give it a couple days. So I did, but he never left the roster. So finally, I emailed the mom. I'm like, hey, just checking in. He's been on my roster a couple days, but he hasn't come to class. And she blows me up, is so angry. Why is this the first time I'm hearing from you? And I'm like, well, I was told by counselors to wait. And she's, well, why didn't you give me any instructions on how to do your virtual classroom? You know, I'm a principal, and I would never allow this in my school. And I was like, if you're a principal, you should know how to get to the virtual classrooms because
Right.
you have them also.
Right.
But
But
anyways,
she's probably never gone in
No.
one.
no, she is not. So I 2:30 went home for the day. Next day I come to school and I have so many emails from her and this was the day that I wasn't feeling good. So many emails from her because I didn't respond to her emails at 4 o'clock and then at 5 o'clock and then at 8 o'clock and then at 9 o'clock.
Mama, you gotta chill.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
not glued
And
to that.
when I responded, I said, I'm sorry I went home for the day. She's if I'm able to be on my email that late, you should also.
Did she
Oh.
say that?
Yes,
like
she did.
messaged you that?
Could
Yes.
not be me.
If I'm able to be on my email that late, you should be able to also.
Imagine being that rude.
My
I
principal,
am
Imagine.
able to, but I don't have
No.
to be.
Right.
my
Like,
principal made me
no.
apologize to her.
Your principal was horrible.
My
Oh.
principal
Your
was
principal.
awful.
Okay,
Your
wait, but
principal
I
was
have not
horrible.
heard everything about your principal. So
My
please tell me.
principal was
He was horrible.
This is
if I had
Becca
a
shares
dollar,
time.
if I had a dollar for every time he either told me to do something or asked me to do something or told me it was okay to do something, and then forgot about it and reprimanded me for it, I would be
horrible.
able to retire right now.
He was
He
horrible.
was
Becca
so
used to
bad.
call me and tell me some of the stuff that he did, and I'm like, how have you not gotten written up yet? Because I would go off on him. That would be my write
I
up.
can't.
His favorite thing to tell teachers was, "I'm not a tow truck. If you land yourself in a ditch, I'm not gonna be the one to get you out." Like
How
he was
old
so
was
come
this
up with
That's
these
your
words?
job.
Sort of.
That's
He
your job.
also used to send out emails saying the district wants us to do XYZ, but then would walk to every department meeting and say, by the way, if you want to do it this way, I guess you technically can, but if you get caught, that's on you. Like, he was so
What kind of Shades
unsupportive.
McGee person?
And it
He
sucks
was
because there's such
awful.
good administrators and principals out there, and the few bad ones just kind of mess it up.
I'm
for-
really blessed. My head principal, he is phenomenal. The stories that people send me of the way that parents have talked to them or situations they've had, I'm like, my principal would literally never let someone talk to
No.
me like that.
Yeah.
Like
Cherish
he would literally,
those.
my principal
Cherish
would
them.
literally be like, "You're not gonna talk to Miss Richardson like that." Like matter of fact, Miss Richardson, go back to class. I handle this.
Yeah, my principal
Oh,
has my
really?
back. Like,
Yeah, my principal got my
she's
back
awesome. I
100%.
can't say that about every principal I've ever had, but like the one I currently have.
I feel bad because they have whenever I talk about advocating for teachers and what you should do, I think that if you're sick and not feeling well, and and you call in sick and they call you and say no, you got to come in. I don't, because that's not my problem.
No.
That's your problem.
Yeah.
It's
right.
yours. So if you can't cover the class and you can't find a sub, then I guess you better email those parents to say that there's no school that day for that classroom.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have administrators like, well, what do you think? How do you think we should approach that problem? Baby, I'm not advocating for principals. I'm advocating for teachers.
Yep.
Yeah.
You won't have to find yourself a principal advocate because I wouldn't want your job right now. Your job sounds like it would be so hard right now to
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want.
But
I
also,
wouldn't-
we don't have the experience of being an administrator to be able to give them that kind
Yeah.
of
I'm not
advice.
gonna
Like,
problem
I don't
solve
know the
that for
kind
you.
of resources principals
Right.
have. Like, I'm not going to pretend like I know what a principal can and cannot do, but I do know that they can be supportive of their teachers.
Right.
Well, but also we talked about it yesterday on the drive. Like everyone's short-staffed. This is something we have to understand and come to terms with. And if your principal is super like amazing and supportive, you might be willing to say, you know what, I really need a personal day.
Yeah.
I really wanted to take it Monday, and the principal negotiates a Thursday, day off, and then like you're more willing to help out, and they're gonna in return help you out.
Right.
But when they're demanding and they just say you got to come in with strep throat anyways, I'm like that ain't me.
And not to mention the fact that we have had to reacclimate the kids to being at school.
Oh,
because for 2 years they were like in and out of school. And my thing is like, is truancy not a thing anymore?
No.
Because there are so many kids that are absent. I'm like, if we were absent this much when we were kids, my parents would have went to jail.
Yeah.
Like I have kids. I have at minimum 5 kids every single day out of a class of 25 to 30 kids. At minimum 5 kids absent every single day.
I have a class of 17. And I have 5 or 6 kids gone.
Y'all, I'm like, what are you doing?
At some point, like this week was especially bad, and I get it. Like we had a bunch of snow days and stuff, but even the previous week, like at some point, you're like, when do I stop teaching and wait for them? Because it's like, I mean, I think at my old school, the one thing I did like that they did like a parent meeting. And they would have all the parents come in, and they would like make the point to say like attendance is important, and your child can miss. I think it was like they can miss no more than 1.5 days per quarter or something before they start losing like growth.
Right.
So like I always think that's so important. And then I have kids that miss weeks at a time.
I do too.
Insane.
I'm like, where are you?
And my thing is, when they miss that much, I'm like, one, I can't start a new lesson or a new standard because they're not there. And number 2, when your child misses 2 to 3 days a week, or they miss 1 day every single week, how are they gonna pass?
There's
and then you're
obviously
looking at
something
me
going on.
crazy.
That is a lot.
You're looking at me crazy, and I think there is something going on. But with 5 to 10 kids in each class, like what the hell are y'all doing? Why y'all kids don't come to school?
And that goes back to, but then like that puts added stress on us too. Like
It's so much added stress. I'm stressed out
I have
about
a pile of like, and I can't even keep track of all the
it.
missing work.
Yeah.
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
There's never
At
been
some
so
point,
much
there's
missing
like,
work.
I'm not gonna lie. At some point, like if I have enough grades in the grade book, I'm like, okay, you're excluded. You're excluded. Because
what are we supposed to do? Because again, when because they don't care that we got kids absent. We still have to stay on pacing for state tests and for case 21.
Right.
And then my test scores are suffering because my kids aren't coming to school.
Right.
So the instruction that I'm giving the day that I give, like let's say I start a new standard on Central Idea. The day that I do the mini lesson on Central Idea and give the notes, and then I model it, and then they practice it, your kid was absent. And then the next day when I reviewed it, your kid was already behind because they have no idea what we did yesterday. And then the third day when we got more practice, your kid's absent again that day.
Right.
And so I'm like, they've missed 2 days of like huge instruction. So now not only are they behind, but when they see that standard on the state test, they're not going to have any idea what it is. And I'm
again,
like, I can't
comes back on
us. And I'm like, I really cannot keep up. And I used to be a boss at keeping up with makeup assignments, but there's just too many. I can't.
Yeah,
What I
there's
started
so
doing,
many right now.
and again, I know it's a little bit different for me because I always did the older kids, but what I would always do is I would have like not only on a calendar in my classroom, but also on the website, unit 1, day 1, unit 1, day 2, unit 1, day 3, so that it was like a little bit easier for the kids to be able to also take it upon themselves of what day am I going to miss?
Right.
But I remember like this fall at the very beginning of the year, they were starting this like obviously they're doing contact tracing and kids were supposed to be out for so ever many days. And I remember keeping up with all of those kids, and while I was trying to figure out who was absent and who was quarantine absent, this little girl comes up to me and she goes, so in 3 weeks I'm gonna be gone for 2 weeks. Can I have my work
Girl,
for that?
I don't know
I'm
what
like,
I'm
I
teaching
don't
tomorrow.
even know like what's going on today.
this is-
Please don't ask me that.
What I remember this being a big deal too. I remember that like so much 4th grade. Jackie, I won't say her last name. She had to get special permission from the school to go to Mali, Africa, to go visit family. And I'm like, that's amazing. But she had to get special permission to do that. And now kids are just letting you know on an email, I'm going to be out for 2 weeks.
Actually,
Listen, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
it's okay. I'll go after.
So my first year teaching, no, it was my second year teaching or something like that. I was getting married,
Mhm.
and I got married in October, you know, because I'm a rebel and I don't want to get married in the summer. So I had to take off work during the school year. And I saved up all my personal days. So I took all 3 personal days in October, and then I needed 2 unpaid days.
Mm-hmm.
You want to bet? My superintendent literally said, well, that's fine. You can have your unpaid days, but you're going to have to pay for your substitute teacher for those 2 days that you're going to miss.
No,
What?
absolutely
I
not.
had to pay
No,
for
you
my
did not.
substitute teacher. So not only were they not paying me,
Can they do that?
I don't
Can
know.
they do that?
Probably.
don't
I
think
was a
union-wise
dumb
they
first-year
can't.
teacher, so I
'Cause
didn't know.
They can make you
can't-
pay for your.
No,
I
they
wish
can't.
they
It has to
would.
go through
I'm not
HR.
paying for a substitute
That
teacher.
stuff
You
is
pay
tax
for
and
it.
That-
federally.
Okay, I had to pay for my own substitute teacher. And at first, he wasn't even going to give me the days. I was like, I'm getting married. I'm like, it's a once in a life.
And why does
hopefully.
your super-
once in a hopefully
See,
once
Why
in a
does your
lifetime
super-
thing?
But why does your superintendent have a say in? Why is your superintendent managing whether people can take a day off or not? Isn't
Because
that your head principal?
it goes through the principal, and then it goes to the superintendent.
Well,
But
my
see,
district
what
is too
happens-
big for it to have to go
Yeah.
to.
No,
When
my
the
teachers
district was
take
huge,
off-
and he was a micro.
Oh, girl, no.
You would have to be that. I can't even imagine our
Oh,
superintendent.
But
that
when
district was
teachers take
awful.
off and they pay for their subs and then teachers cover classes, where does that money go?
Well,
That's
it
what
wasn't
I
even
wanna
that.
know.
We weren't even on a
Thank you.
sub shortage at that point. That was in 2018.
I'm talking about in general. Like we
And-
often have in my county, we had if someone called out that morning or if they got sick and there wasn't time to get a sub, teachers would just cover and they still had to pay for the sub. But where does that money go?
But my thing
It's
is,
not going
what,
to the
did they take
teachers?
the money out your paycheck, or you had to like physically pay them?
She went. She
They-
got it. She went to
they-
the ATM.
Deducted it from they deducted the pay obviously that I would have made from those 2 days, and then I had to pay
How is that a thing?
for
How
the.
That's
I
not-
think it was like
I'm
$90 a day. I
How
had
can
to
they
pay.
make you
No,
pay
I'm-
for your own sub?
I'm,
Well,
don't
I'm getting
understand.
married. I was like,
if
how
there's
heartless are you?
If there's a lawyer listening right now,
Avery.
I don't understand. I don't understand how that's legal. Like, how can they make you pay?
I'm sure it wasn't. That's what I'm saying. I
That's
was.
on
I
them.
was.
and I, you know what? I bet it went right into
new.
that superintendent's pocket, and they went and bought an exorbitant amount of coffee.
And I don't know. I don't know, but I was just like, I just remember that whole situation. I was like, this is why I don't do anything more than I'm supposed to because
of stuff like
that
that.
district
Right.
would not hesitate to replace me if I died tomorrow. Why am I busting my butt
Facts.
for them?
Facts.
See,
Like, if
I-
you treat your teachers right,
Facts.
they're going to do anything
Facts.
for
which,
you.
which is the problem that they're having now, right?
Right.
So if you
Yes.
would have treated us great 4 or 5 years ago,
Mhm.
we wouldn't be burned out during a pandemic right now, and like
and them asking more.
Right.
Yeah.
Or y'all telling us that we're burned out because we're not good at managing our time.
Yeah.
Baby, what time?
yeah.
Well, I want
ain't
to
got
say
nothing.
this
If I-
because I said this on a live the other day, and I had numerous people ask me if I could turn it into a video, and I plan on it, but I'm gonna repeat it because it's important. I was told this months ago, and sorry for the morbidity, but if something were to happen to you, if something were to happen to you and you were to pass away, your job posting would be listed before your obituary was out.
Oh,
I think I
100%.
said that correctly, obituary.
obituary.
Said it
Yeah.
good. Said
But
it good.
like that is why if you earn days, and I know it's so taboo, and
Yeah.
I posted a video about like teachers being able to use their vacation days a little while ago, but I'm so serious. Like if you need a personal day, whether you're a teacher, a nurse, whatever, like you are not good to your students, your patients, your customers. If you are burnt out,
Right.
use your
Yeah.
earned days.
Oh, no.
I don't
And
care
that
who's
goes the
mad at you
same for
it.
mental. I
Yeah.
wholeheartedly
Right.
believe in mental health days because especially as in the teaching profession, you deal with so much trauma that's not yours.
yes, ma'am.
And
Oh,
it
for
is
sure.
weighing
Yes, ma'am.
on your heart and your mind. and
ma'am.
it doesn't matter if you're the kind of person you're like, I can check it at the door and go home. No.
Yeah.
No, you think about little Johnny at 3 a.m, whether or not he has a bed to sleep in that
Yeah.
night, or
Right.
whether or not Nalasia ate dinner last night, or whatever. Like, you think about that stuff forever. It
Right.
doesn't go away.
And
so
te-
sometimes you need a day to just get it
Right.
out.
And I get that
stop.
the sub plans are awful. I get it. Honestly, no one cares. Pop in a movie.
Oh, 100%.
Just do it.
But
Do
I also refute
My
this
principal would have a
idea.
conniption if a sub put a movie on.
Yeah, so would
Oh,
mine. At
he
my
would-
old school.
they
See,
would
I
this
don't
one.
see. I don't trust, and I'm so sorry. And I know there are good subs out there. I'm very sorry for what I'm about to say. I'm very particular about like my kids learning and like getting the information. I do not trust a sub to like do it the way that I want it to be done, and that is why the only time before the pandemic I ever used a sick day was when Avery was was subbing while he was studying for the bar, and he was my sub because
Well,
I knew he
wouldn't
would
actually,
do it the way I
but
wanted it done.
even if you don't trust a sub, I wouldn't give a sub actual
your
thing,
lesson plans.
Just give them like
Busy work.
a worksheet or something, like busy work. I wouldn't
I
ever.
don't know.
I know you don't trust the sub to, but I'm speaking for the subs out there. We ain't nobody's expecting the subs to like teach the material. So because even when I sub a class, baby, you better put them worksheets. I'm a teacher. If you ain't got no worksheets, I'm not giving them nothing.
I mean more for like the teachers that are like, I don't want to do a whole elaborate like lesson for while I'm gone for the sub plan.
People
like,
do elaborate.
Okay,
I've
I'm not
seen
gonna
people
lie.
try.
I'm a psychopath when it comes to sub plans, but like in a good way. Like I will write out a time block, exactly what you need to do, what the kids should do, where things are. So because I don't want a
so
sub
give
to
'em a
walk in
good
my room and
plan,
feel lost.
Right.
So I leave everything out on the table. I have sticky notes on everything for like day or like if I'm out for multiple days or like what activity this is for.
Right. So
And
that's
I've
good.
gotten
I mean,
so
that's
many
like
compliments about
organization.
my sub plans.
Yeah, that's good organization.
But I never give them things that are things I'm like, this is something I would do.
Right.
Let me make it something that's easier for them to do.
Right.
See, this fall when I went to New York, 'cause I had a friend that was walking in Fashion Week. I didn't want to miss that.
Which was
like
amazing.
it was
You
really
looked
cool.
bomb,
But so I took a couple days. I went to New York. I laid everything out. I gave them things to do. I put everything in piles. I labeled it. Sub literally told the kids, your teacher looks really put together, but I just don't feel like it.
Okay, so I have a question then about that.
Movie it is.
I have to ask you a question with that. Knowing what you know now about what that sub did, would that have made you not go to Fashion Week?
No, I would have rearranged the lesson and done something else.
But if exactly that same situation happened again, would you not go to Fashion Week? Would you have missed your friend knowing that the sub was going to do that? So I need us to stop that narrative BS about it's easier to go to school than have a bad sub, because that's not true.
That's not true.
There are moments in your life that you sat at home on the couch, did nothing, and it was worth running that sub plane, even if it was a bad thing. I did that toxic thing where I'd be like, it's easier just to go.
No.
You
need
Listen,
that.
I had a sub.
don't.
Okay,
No.
a couple weeks ago, I was out and I had a sub. No joke. Went in my classroom, freaked out in front of my students because I guess like she wanted their last names and like there was a seating chart with all of their first names and everything. There's no reason she needed their last names or for whatever reason.
Right.
But anyway, my intervention specialist was like, I can print it out for you if you really want them, but like here's the seating chart. And she was freaking out. She was like talking about me in front of my students, like crap talking me.
Dang.
In front of my students.
Oh my gosh.
And like, because she was older and she was like, why do these kids sit wherever they want? They should have desks. And I'm like, flexible
you got
seating.
flexible
Is
seating.
that why you talked about flexible seating?
Yes, I
the
did.
other day? I loved it so much.
That TikTok was for you, Miss
seating.
Sub. But I was like, who goes around talking about the teacher in front of their students?
Right.
And then
They
that
don't
thing
tell
was,
us.
my students told me the next day.
Miss
I was
Willie, let me
like,
tell
they
you what
ratted
that
on
sub
you.
is. Right. Let me tell you what that's. You know what? Like bringing it back to teaching during having to adjust to teaching during the pandemic. I feel like all of us could have been tech support at Google, Apple, or Microsoft because the amount of problems we had to fix virtually without having any training or anything. At some point in time, I was having nightmares about kids turning in assignments, me opening the document, and it was just blank.
Oh.
Like I was like, I don't know how to communicate to you. Help me help you. How can I communicate to you that this document is blank? Well, I watched them submit it. Okay, Susan, I'm telling you, the document is still blank. I mean, arguing back and forth with parents, ma'am, I don't have this work. It ain't
It's
in
not
there.
there.
Well, I sat there at the table and watched my child do it. Girl, it ain't in there.
My favorite thing was the ones that would say, well, I did it. I don't know what happened. And then I would be like, oh, okay. Version history.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm
Right.
like, oh,
Amateurs.
Listen,
There's nothing here.
I'm gonna drop a truth bomb for some people. If you use D2L, Blackboard, any of those services, my husband's a professor. Your professor can see exactly how long you clicked on each assignment, and they know the IEP address. So if you're saying I couldn't get on, I went to the library, they can see if you were at home. They can see all that. So don't you be lying.
Oh, hey, that
to
kind of helps out those
professors.
student teachers
Yeah.
from last.
You just
last
saved
episode.
your life.
I did. So
Couple episodes
I
ago.
sat there and I was like, yeah, I read the material. And my husband was like, no, you know that your professor can see how long you were on it. I was like, they know I've never read an assignment.
Not all
in my
heroes wear
life.
capes.
Not all.
Not all
But the
heroes
angry
wear
ones do, I hear.
Big mad.
So
Oh my gosh.
what is a form of self-care that like you actually think is beneficial to you?
Okay, I'll go. I was gonna ask, and then I'm like, no, I'm just gonna do it. So and this kind of even goes back to first year teacher self-care also. When I was a first year teacher, I was at school probably until 9 o'clock at night every single day, without fail. And I was just, I don't know why. My school district at the time had so many regulations and things you had to have in your classroom posted on the wall, or things you had to have in your lessons, or what. I had 25-page lesson plans at that school.
Dang.
Within my actual career. I wasn't in teaching, student teaching anymore. So I was at school until 9 o'clock every single night.
Were these for every day, like a 25-page lesson
for the
plan?
week?
For the week.
For the week. But every single week by Monday, it better be posted.
Good Lord.
Ridiculous. So I would be at school working on stuff. I'd come home, and Jordan and I weren't married yet, so I would come home at 9 o'clock, and my school was 40 minutes away from me. So by the time I got home, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to Jordan's house at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. And I would go to his house to hang out with him, and I would just pass out. And I honestly, he would I would fall asleep, and then he'd wake me up at midnight, and he'd be like, go home.
Go home.
And honestly, I mean, it took a toll on our relationship for a little bit, because he was like,
Lauren, how did you even function like that? That means you weren't getting any sleep.
I wasn't. I would be at Jordan's until midnight, go home. By the time I got my stuff, because I'm a night packer, so I would get all my stuff ready at night. By the time I was ready to go to bed, it was 1, wake up at 6, do it all over again.
Girl.
And I, the one thing, when I moved to my new school, I told myself, I'm and I know this goes back to stop shaming people for staying after. If that's what you want to do and it makes you happy,
you feel better,
go for it. But for me, I saw that it was taking a toll on my mental health, my energy, my just enjoying life. I was I am not staying past 4:30.
Right.
That's an hour after the school day ends.
Right.
4:30, I'm out. And I'm not the kind of person that's if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. If there's papers I gotta grade at home, okay.
Right.
If there's a I don't know, a copy I forgot to make, I'll do it. But I learned how to manage my time better.
Right.
And then when we started teaching hybrid, and you were basically doing double time because you're teaching in person and then also making a hyperdoc where you have everything linked for the people who are hybrid, and
Only
recording
for them
yourself
not
filming,
to do it anyway.
Right. Recording yourself reading a book and then finding videos to match your lesson and doing all of that.
They underestimated how much extra stuff we had to do to perfect virtual.
It was
They still don't get
awful.
it.
They don't
It was
understand.
awful.
They don't
And
understand.
my school, the teachers, they're we will never do that again.
Yeah.
We did it because everyone was going through it last year.
Right.
We did it to help out and to just do our part. And now that we're a year into this and we kind of know better, no
The
more.
best advice I
No
ever
more.
got from a teacher was that if it can't be done by 5 o'clock, leave. And that was hard for me because, again, learning to work your contracted hours is a learned skill.
Yep.
But she was like, if it can't get done by 5, leave. And I started doing that, and I found that things expand to the amount of time that you allot for it. So if you now, if I have to go up to the school on the weekend, I set a 2-hour timer. I ain't staying past 2 hours. You get 2 hours on the weekend. That's it. That has worked so well for me because, again, we teaching during a panoramic, and Marianne be acting up. So a lot of teachers are absent, and so we have to cover a class every day. And the planning periods are not that long. So either I've got a PLC meeting, or I got a common planning meeting, or I'm covering a class.
I'm on so many committees.
Right.
How do you have
and
the
if
time?
you're a first year teacher, don't be volunteering for nothing. If they actually tell me you can't, you ain't got time.
They
Don't
shouldn't be
volunteer for
asking.
nothing.
I don't think
volunteer
they're
for
allowed to
nothing.
ask.
Don't
Don't
even
even though
add
they
nothing
do.
extra to your plate as a first year teacher. It's okay to just survive.
Put your head down and
Put your head down and survive. But I mean, we're covering classes, so I'm like, when are we supposed to plan? My TikTok, I hadn't had a TikTok really go super viral in a long time, but I had one that's almost at 3 million views because it was one of me and the principal talking back and forth to each other. Now, my principal didn't do this, but it was just a skit of experience other teachers have had where the principal's like, hey, I didn't get your lesson plans. And the teacher's like, I didn't have time to do a lesson plan. And the principal's like, but I need your lesson plan. And the teacher's like, I'm not understanding what you're not understanding about. I don't have a lesson plan. I didn't have time because I'm covering classes.
Right.
And it's not like I can do it during class because God forbid y'all come in and see me sitting down at my desk. I'm not sure why that's so taboo.
Yeah, I don't understand.
But
that.
anyway, it's like you feel like you got caught doing something you weren't supposed to be doing if the principal walks in and you're sitting at your desk. And so the principal's like, okay, well, maybe you can do it after school. And the teacher's like, literally, no, I'm not doing it after school.
Yeah, no.
The amount of ignorant people in those comments, like, if you're not a teacher, bro, shut up.
You don't
like,
know.
yeah.
You don't
I
get it.
I
You're
don't
just
care. At this
ignorant.
point, like, I don't care. I'm going to say it because somebody needs to say it. If you're not a teacher, stop speaking on stuff you don't know. Because all y'all got opinions about education. You ain't never set foot in a classroom before. So literally, speak
Just
on what
because
you
you
know.
went to school
Right,
doesn't
don't
mean that
know
you've
how
taught
to
in
speak
a
on
school.
what you know.
Right.
Because
It's not the same.
amount of people in those comments, ignorant people, that were like, I can't believe teachers complain so much. Y'all get the summer off. Y'all get breaks off. I
not
can't
get
believe
summers off.
they were like, if I'm salaried, and if I don't get my work done, like, I can't go home until my work gets done. I don't understand why teachers are. I'm like, bro, y'all
Because my
are,
contract hours end
people-
at a certain time.
Right.
Listen, the
People
summer's
are
off, then we could
delusional.
go on a whole nother
I
episode.
know.
Imagine-
a whole nother.
Imagine being a grown adult and still not understanding teachers don't get paid for the
Imagine.
summer.
No,
Imagine.
we just get our bills. We just
Imagine.
get
Well,
our,
what irritates me is then, like, I say something about teachers don't get paid over summer, and then there's some I'm sorry, there are some tryhards out there that are like, no, I spaced my salary out. That's not the same,
That's
Susan.
not
You're
paid.
still not
It's not
getting
the
paid
same.
over
You're
the summer.
getting paid
You
for
don't get
You
paid
spaced out your
for
10
summer
months.
months.
Right.
That's
You-
what
You're
I
getting
get.
paid
Like,
for
Yeah.
January
Yeah.
in July.
Right.
That is not the same. Shut up
And
stop
speaking
spreading
of January,
misinformation.
why is January 700,697 days long? Because we get paid on December the 18th. We don't get paid again until January 31st. If you know a teacher, it's the end of January. Teachers out here hungry and struggling. Because
Can I just
that
say,
little
I've
paycheck-
never seen Becca get so feisty.
I know,
Oh, it
About
makes me
something?
mad.
Becca was about
It
to
makes
slap
me
that
mad.
microphone. It ain't
Something
even
I was about to
No.
like shield myself.
Something
Do you
else that
wanna
I have
fight?
to say, especially for the younger teachers out there, because this pissed me off, and I'm
Yeah.
not sorry about it. Another thing with my principal. So I remember
This man.
last year,
I'm tripping.
last spring, during one of our observations, I told him, I said, I feel very stressed out because obviously, like, teachers during online learning are trying to build the plane as we fly it.
Right.
Right? And I said, I feel like me, at the time I was just starting my 3rd year teaching, I'm trying to figure out what a plane is as I build
Right,
it,
right,
as
right.
I fly it.
Right.
And he said to me, I think we're all struggling a little bit. You're not struggling any more than anyone else. And I said,
Boo.
no, I'm pretty sure if I had 20 years experience,
Right.
10 years experience, even 5 years experience of what teaching was, that would
Right.
still make this a little bit more bearable, a little bit more, I would have my bearings.
Where's my bucket of
slightly
tomatoes I can
more.
throw at this
So
Man,
guy?
don't you dare discredit teachers
Yeah.
who had to learn how to teach in a pandemic.
People
Oh,
Y'all
yeah,
are
for sure.
rock stars also.
People
Okay,
have
can we?
no
I'm
idea.
gonna change topics a little bit to get into my little segment that we got going on. So, okay, let me show of
Self-care,
hands.
be silly.
show of hands. How many of you get to eat your whole lunch?
No.
No.
Oh, no one.
What's a whole lunch?
No
You
one's
eat
raising their
lunch?
hand.
You guys eat lunch?
So, speaking of lunches, I asked people on my Instagram story. So, those of you that don't know me from TikTok, I kind of blew up from doing a comment series that I called My Favorite Answers. And what I would do is I would pose a question to the people in my comments, and they would have to answer it. And a lot of the times I would do like wrong answers only, so it would just be silly. But I mean, sometimes I wouldn't do wrong answers, and it would just be whatever hilarious answer they could come up with. So in my story a couple weeks ago, I asked people, what did my mom pack in my lunch today?
I love this.
And it was wrong answers only. So before I show you the answers, I want to hear your wrong answer of what your teacher lunch would be.
If my mom packed it,
Or you. Doesn't matter.
I packed wrong answers.
Wine
only.
cooler.
Okay. Thinking it's yogurt, it's actually sour cream. That's the wrong answer.
That's
So
funny.
like you're going to grab a yogurt in the morning and you throw a jar of sour cream in
So
your
like
lunch?
they have those little mini containers of sour cream, yeah? Like if you accidentally think that's
Can
a
you
yogurt.
imagine getting to school
Oh,
and being so
I'd be
so
so
I would
disappointed?
say
That's my wrong
thinking
answer.
It's club soda, and it's actually Truly's or White Claw. Accidentally.
Mine's always like a hodgepodge of nothing. Like I would usually, I'll be like anything I can grab and just throw in a bag. So like it was like a jar of
Nice.
pickles and like I don't know, a granola bar and then a
funny.
slice of cheese or
Like
something. It's
mine
something
would
dumb
be-
like that.
Mine would be an empty takeout container because I got home and I was like, I'm gonna save this for lunch tomorrow. And at midnight, I nommed on it and I ate it.
I know, that's
and then when
right.
I woke up in the
That's
morning, I forgot that I ate it. So when I got to school, the box was empty.
Oh, that's so sad.
Okay, well, these are some of the wrong answers that people's moms packed them. So first off, we got Weird Al Yankovic.
What?
Weird Al Yankovic. Do you know who he is?
Amish Paradise.
He's the one that makes all the parody song videos.
He's-
Oh my. Okay, we gonna have to teach
yeah.
Bree
I'm
We're gonna have
completely
to
lost.
show
who Weird Al
We'll
Yankovic
listen to it
is.
This
tonight.
didn't transfer
We'll listen to it
across
tonight.
cultures.
Oh
I
my
don't know what you're
gosh.
talking about.
No, yeah.
Oh
No,
my
okay, I'll
God.
show you later. All right, we've got a brown avocado.
Oh.
Ew.
Just the one.
An avocado. Thanks.
Thanks.
That's my favorite vine.
Wait, carrots and one single shred of cheese.
Carrots
Just
and
the
cheese are
single
not
shred.
a
So
combo.
sad.
Oh,
But
man.
like, it's the effort to grab the single shred.
Yeah, just the
And
one.
put it
Just the-
into
just the
his
one
bag.
deal.
Ooh.
She tried to make me the lunch like those videos on TikTok, but it was gross.
Ugh.
Oh, that's so. She
Poor
she
mom.
put
Unrealistic.
in
It's the
so much
effort.
effort.
Unrealistic
Uh,
expectations.
Sushi and Skittles.
Oh,
I go for the sushi, but the Skittles ruined it.
I'm gonna save the
In
Skittles
Skittles
for
or
dessert.
in Skittles?
Sushi and Skittles.
I'm gonna save
Oh,
the Skittles.
No, that's a solid lunch for
I was
her.
gonna
Are
say
you
that doesn't
kidding?
sound like a wrong answer.
No, that sounds like a
It
yes
sounds like a great answer. Okay. Pizza
Ooh.
and beer.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That's lunch of champions.
Maybe
Yeah.
not for
Gosh.
school, but I mean, it is what it is. Kale chips and a sandwich container of bacon and chocolate chips.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh,
That's
this was
what
from a teacher. It was the lunch one of her kindergartners brought.
Oh.
Wait, say it again.
It was kale chips
Okay.
and a sandwich container full of bacon and some chocolate chips.
Yes.
That is
He likes
so
doing a
Yes.
little
disgusting.
sweet and salty thing.
Yeah.
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 Hey,
Sweet
at
and
least
salty.
it wasn't a Lunchable that they couldn't open.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh, that would have been so upsetting.
Mhm. So, but anyway, I'm going to be posting more questions for you guys to answer on my Instagram, and then we'll probably put them on the podcast Instagram page also. So make sure that you guys enter your answers, and we'll be featuring some of those on future episodes.
So before we wrap up for today, do you want to close out our teacher self-care with some nice
I think
advice?
we should each give solid advice, like a solid thing that someone can do during pandemic. My advice is always, after you leave work, whenever you decide to leave it, your phone conversations, if it's with your colleagues or if it's with your principal, are only social. And I still do that. So if I get a text that's like, hey, did you turn this in? I won't answer. But then if they text me again, they're like, oh my gosh, did you hear, did you watch this in the news? I'll say, yeah, I did. And they'll be like, well, why didn't you respond to my other text? I'm not going to talk to you
Okay.
about work
Yeah.
after I leave. That's my,
Mine-
I like
advice.
that.
Mine would be, my self-care would be when you need to practice self-care, the only way that you need to practice self-care is by hitting add to cart.
Ooh, I like that. Okay,
And you can do it as
mine.
many times as you want.
Mine, because I'm super guilty of this, and I was even just saying, I was like, after this weekend, I think I need a mental day on Monday. But then I was like, I can't. I got a BLT meeting. But I always would
sandwich.
say,
No.
take the day. If you need
Yep.
the day, you are no good to anybody. If
Yeah.
you're in a bad mood,
Yep.
if you don't feel good,
Mhm.
if you're not in a good headspace,
Right.
like,
You just
Take
described
that
me on a
day.
daily basis. Do I
Yeah.
mean I get to take off every day?
Yes.
That's how I am at school every day.
See, mine is the exact same thing. That's what I always say. And I finally started practicing that at the beginning of this fall. And like, seriously, if you want to go somewhere, you earned those vacation days. If
Yeah.
you're not feeling good, those sick days are there for a reason. You're no good, just like Lauren said, you're no good to your students, your patients, no matter what your occupation is. If you're not in the right headspace, you're
I
no
thought
use
you
to
were calling
anyone.
our students our patients, and I was like, they a little cray sometimes.
No, I
Like,
meant
do I
like-
work at a zoo or
No,
at the
'cause-
circus? Like I can't.
I mean,
tell the
sometimes
difference.
it's the
too.
same.
And also, if you don't have those vacations, you don't have those mental health days, and you can afford financially to take it off, take an
Do it.
unpaid
Do
day
it.
because it is not worth being able to sit there and say you're a gold star teacher because you've never taken an unpaid
No.
day. So
No.
There's no, I mean,
There-
that I
There's
know
no
of, there
award.
is no perfect attendance award for teachers
No.
at my
There's
school,
not.
at least.
I didn't get it.
So,
No, I didn't get
Well.
it.
well,
for the
even
first
that, okay,
years.
just real quick, at my old school, there was an award. Like, if you didn't miss any days, they would give you like a little stipend at the end of the quarter. And to me, my time is more valuable valuable than money.
Stipend, yeah.
So I would be like, this is just not worth it for, the $200. Like,
Right.
I mentally
$200
for like the semester, if you didn't miss any days at all.
Okay, but still $200, baby.
But
What I'm supposed to do?
After taxes, that's not
No.
worth.
It's not worth my time.
No,
No.
like think about how much you get paid for one day of
No,
teaching.
that's what I'm saying. That's not enough money.
Oh, okay, I thought you were acting like that was a good stipend.
Absolutely
I'd be
not.
like-
I was like,
What the hell
no.
am I supposed to do with $200?
Exactly. And
No.
I was like, no, it's not worth it to me.
Not
I'm
for
going
no
to take the
perfect
day.
attendance. Absolutely not.
No, it's never
But,
going to be.
Yep. Quit shaming people for
Quit
taking
it.
the day off.
Quit it.
Take that
But
day.
the bottom line is, at the end of the day, whatever you consider self-care, what actually takes care of you and what helps you relax, do it. Who cares? No one should judge you. If they do, screw them. They don't matter. Like, honestly, you need to do what is best for you. Those admin, those professional development people who try to talk to you about teaching during pandemic, they don't actually know.
Right.
You know.
And
you know what
admin-
you need.
Support your teachers. If you're telling them
Yes.
to practice self-care, give them the
Let
time
them-
to do
yeah.
it.
We don't need professional developments about self-care. Take those professional development hours we would have done and send us
And
home.
give us some stuff.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. We love you
Bye,
guys. Have a really great
guys.
week. We'll see you later. Thank you.